One. Hola, bonjour, and hello, everybody. You are listening to Worldwide T. It is the one and only podcast where every single episode we count on everything that's going on in the world of international drag race spin-offs. And as always, I am Evan Sawdey from Pop Matters.
I'm Gregory Ellwood from the playlist. How are you doing today, Evan?
Oh, yeah, I'm in a holly jolly spirit. What can I say? I do my annual rewatch of the Drag Race Christmas special, which is totally good and not a horrible piece of television every single year. But overall, I'm doing all right. How about
Wait,
you,
wait,
Greg?
wait, Evan, are you watching the green screen Christmas special or are you watching the TV movie, which I've been told is good with like
I,
asterisks,
I
but I have
I
not
have
actually
not
seen
watched
it?
this bitch that stole Christmas. No, I somehow
Okay.
that has avoided me. Maybe I should do it in prep work for the forthcoming RuPaul's Drag Race movie that's coming
Yeah.
out, starring Ginger Minge. Who knows? One of
Hey, and
them
Jujubee, and
and
Jujubee, don't forget,
Jujubee.
co-headline, co-lead,
Co-lead.
Jujubee.
I'm very excited. It's going to be great. But most critically, Greg, is that wonderful time of year. Things are starting to wrap up, and I think as a treat for our fans who stuck with us here, we did it a little bit at the end of last year, but next week we are going to do the annual, definitely annual Worldwide Tea Awards, where we're going to talk about everything that happened in the great international lip sync world. This of Drag Race, we're going to talk about what was our favorite lip sync, what was our favorite runway outfit that we saw, what was the queen that most deserved the crown out of all the queens that we had over there. Was she Ruby Knox? I can't tell you. I don't know what the answers are, but Greg and I will talk about it next week. I'm very excited for it. We're doing our prep work. It's going to be a good time. Any other news that we need to know in the drag race world outside of people still continuing I saw a tweet literally the other day that's like, so is DragCon happening this year or uh, which I
DragCon, there's
which
DragCon in Brazil. Like
I
that's
know, which was
happening.
very
And
it was very funny because it's obviously December, so there's no way
oh,
it's going to happen this
there's
year. But
there's no UK DragCon happening. No, 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 no. That's not happening.
alas.
I do think since we are about to endeavor into Canada's Drag Race,
Hmm.
we are very I guess I don't know if touched is the word, but thankful that Van Gogh slipped into our comment section.
Yet
Two
again.
weeks 2 weeks ago, we had a an episode about the design challenge. It was the Snatch Game
Hmm.
design challenge, and we made a comment and we prefaced it saying we don't know if this was the case, but in
Correct.
case it was,
Hmm.
that the bodysuit she was wearing in her episode-winning outfit could have been brought from home. And I think Van Gogh took that a little personally, and I
Hmm.
understand it, totally do. She made it there. That's the case. The reason we prefaced it is because there
Hmm.
have been numerous franchises and numerous seasons where queens have brought in bodysuits, or they brought in bras, or brasiers, or all sorts of different things that production let them just use for a design challenge as part of the outfit. So Van Gogh, we were not trying to disrespect you or disrespect your win. We actually complimented on the rest of the look and the bodice tremendously. Um, but if you're still listening,
Cheers.
I would say cheers and
Yes.
just know that there was a preface to it. We weren't trying to discredit your win. We were asking a question. Evan,
Hmm.
is there anything else you'd like to say to this controversy that involves just the three of us?
Just the three of us. All I can say is that I hope that Van Gogh, you actually listened to the entire episode because if you did, you would know that at the start of every episode, we say that in this house of love, we
Yes.
believe that all drag is valid and no queen ever deserves online hate. And as American entertainment journalists, we now got every reference and we always appreciate corrections. And there's some truly great queens who aren't going to drag race and we love them all the same. And all I can say is, Van Gogh, that's not you, baby. You're 2 wins into this Canada season. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's buzzing about it. Don't worry about a thing. Most critically, as I hope you can see, we love a respectful discourse over here, and we will
Yes.
always honor it here. We've had trust us. We listen, baby. We cover Philippines. We know how crazy the fandom can get. Rest assured. But we are very much appreciative. We're glad to be here, Greg. And before we even talk about episode 5, real quick, all I can say is that so far, I mean, the fandom seems to be in lockstep with at least us. It's going to be hard for them to fumble the bag this season. This has so far been a fantastic, I would even argue, comeback season for Canada's Drag Race.
Well, I think it's definitely better than last season. I think that
Mhm.
the it's more enjoyable to watch. I am the discourse is getting slightly negative about a bunch of the queens. I would say, which happens, every season. And maybe we should save it to the end. But Saltina Shaker did a whole video she posted on Insta that I might have that probably was a live where a lot originally a live
Yeah.
and then she turned it into a post where she got super emotional about I guess how she has been on the show so far and watching it back and this episode and how she presented herself and I would suggest to anyone watching to catch up with it. But overall, I mean, I think that the queens are fun. I feel like one of the things I'm really excited about, we'll talk about in the episode, is some of the queens that maybe were sort of being hidden in the edit, like at the beginning, or sort of popping out in ways that make you go, "Oh, I'm impressed." But more importantly, they come back into the workroom after that epic lip sync between Hazel and
Epic.
PM, which maybe I shouldn't have said epic. It was a really good lip sync.
It was great. I
It
loved
was a
it.
great lip
She
sync.
said, yeah.
And PM says she was sad to be in the bottom, but loves to perform. And then they sit on the couch, and Dulce says that Hazel was doing worse in the competition and she should not have been in the bottom and was happy to be saved. What was your take on that? Because I'm not good at math, Evan, but I don't know if Dulce was actually doing that much better than Hazel. Am I wrong?
Here's actually real quick. I'm gonna pull up the official score sheet real quick because I really need to double check and count on this here. Let's take a look, Greg. What from my recollection, Dulce had not been doing particularly well. Let's see here. Dulce was safe, high, safe, low. Hazel was safe, low, safe. So okay, she had one high placement
One high.
during the
Okay.
during the advert week because she was in the group that did fairly well in
Oh,
the
that whole
advert.
group was
So
up there.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. Dulce, girl. I mean, but hey, stats are
Yeah.
stats. Stats are
Stats are
stats.
stats, baby.
Listen,
Yes. And you know what?
I
It was also, I thought that was interesting. She definitely had strong feelings about it. I also thought Sammy talking about, so PM just has immunity, right? Because if she's in the bottom, she'll just be able to lip sync and be great. I'm like, I don't know if that's exactly how that works. She's not going to Alexandra de Reval it, but I think it is, certainly, yes, PM is absolutely a lip sync force to be reckoned with, but give her a ballad, who knows? I don't know what's going to happen, but she certainly has what it takes. The judges certainly are not tired or sick of her in any way. I'll say that much.
I will say that whenever they decided to record the confessionals, whether it was later that night or the next
Mhm.
morning for that episode, PM had a lot to say. And
Yeah.
she said Ebony is dead to her. And she took out her best friend, put her in the bottom, and she's not working with her anymore. And I
Mhm.
was like, whoa, that is harsh. You're talking about your best friend who you sent home who also screwed you over 2 episodes earlier or 3 episodes or
Mhm.
whatever it was. But
Mhm.
okay.
Okay.
Um, yes. Any other thoughts before they went back to the hotel and sort of cooled off?
Not particularly because the next day when they walk into the workroom, I will say that I'm not saying that the spirit of Siam Prushi lives inside all of us, but Saltina Shaker decides out of nowhere to provide some declarations to the group. She's feeling confident. She's feeling herself. She's turning a new leaf. She's in a new era, and it's like,
I
what?
believe I believe the phrase might be oversharing, like a little
Yeah.
oversharing a little bit. And I
Uh-huh.
also think, to be quite honest, the producers did her a solid because it did not last that long, but they let you
Mhm.
know it did. And then they made sure that the video evidence was minimal. But they cut her off, and uh, the one and only oh no, or maybe this also happened. This happened before Tracy came in. Dulce
And
and
Velma.
Velma had a whole confrontation where Velma
Yes.
basically had saved that she thought that the jokes that Dulce had said in the reading challenge were harsh
A little bit
because they
low.
were
Yes.
hitting on her mother. And I have to remember,
Her
I don't remember there had been, we didn't, I don't know if we talked about this. Had there been something in the workroom where they talked about Velma's
There had
mom
been
being an
no
up?
discussion, as far as I can recall, about talking
Right.
about Velma's alcoholic mother. As far as I could tell, that never happened, or at least was brought up. So when it was brought up in the middle of the edit of the episode, it was like, oh, okay, that's a little
Yeah.
dark. Now,
E-
to her credit, oh, go ahead.
No, no, I was just gonna say, even if it was just a stereotypical joke about somebody's parents, like that, it wasn't really about Velma's. it was a little diggy. Like I don't know if you should attack people's parents like in this context. Not being oversensitive, I just feel like why would you do this on Drag Race? But also this is now the second time Dulce has been Delulu in this episode
Hmm.
because she basically says she didn't think her jokes were going below the belt. Listen,
Hmm.
I have a thick skin about stuff like that, and I thought her jokes went below the belt a little bit. And she didn't think anyone else did either, and everyone else in the room was like, no, we did too." Um,
Yeah.
and I thought it was a half-assed apology. Like I didn't think she really meant it. What did you think?
Well, it wasn't even an apology because she then
Yeah.
immediately brings up the fact that, well, it's like, well, Velma, you made fun of me being poor, and I grew up with that and had trauma related to that, which is one of those things where it's like, okay, fair point, but it's also the kind of thing where it's again, you don't want to, as my husband so lovingly put it, you don't want to compare trauma dicks so much, which as we've seen in other seasons of
Yes.
Drag Race this season, that can be a thing, as we saw in a
Hmm.
very messy episode of España. For those who followed our coverage there was some tough things that happened there where it's just like one trauma should not trump another or whatever. But like it
Yep.
was, I think it was more the fact that like when Velma made that joke, that was one thing, but when you're talking about very specifically an alcoholic parent or something else like that, that's just like a little, just that much level of darkness or that much darker that it just feels it is insincere. But then again, at the same time, here's a person of color feeling attacked by a white person, and like, who are we to
Mhm.
potentially invalidate any of those feelings? So to her credit, I thought Dulce did at least stand up for themselves. But it's also the kind of thing where it's Alexis Michelle all over again. You either take the joke or you can't. And I thought Velma was at least valid for at least bringing up, hey, this very specific deep dig about my family hurt me. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's probably some nuance that probably is not maybe appropriate for a television episode in there, but at least it started a discussion. But either way, it was certainly a wild edit and a wild episode for Dulce. That's all I will say about that.
That is short. She got the spotlight this episode. I mean,
Oh,
she hadn't
rest.
gotten it since like the first one. So damn.
Wait, you know
Speaking
who?
of her,
You
oh,
know
go
who
ahead.
else needs the spotlight, by the way? You know who else needs the spotlight?
Maya Fox.
Tracy Melshore. I mean, yes. But Tracy Melshore, between her look in the workroom and between what she wears on the runway, girl.
She's Supreme Deluxe could take notes.
Girl, I was so impressed, Greg. I was
She looked good.
delighted. I
Yeah.
know. It was a very pleasant surprise.
She's like what's his name on Heated Rivalry? She hired a stylist.
Hmm.
Um wait, are you watching Heated Rivalry? Are you not?
Husband's watched the first two episodes and he stopped because he's waiting for me to fill
Oh,
a fish up. We're finishing Pluribus first. There's great TV all around, everybody. It's great.
wow. There is.
Just
I've seen
saying.
the end of Pluribus. Um yes, actually, if you want to know about the end of Pluribus, my interview with Rhea Shehorn, is I saying it
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Will run on Christmas Eve right after the episode drops. She talks all
Hell
about
yeah,
family.
Greg.
So
I'm
anyway,
excited.
how excited. So but we have Tracy is here to give us a mini challenge that, I will say this, Canada's really good at mini challenges. I loved the idea of this one. I don't know if it worked with these queens, but they called it Dragioke, a drag race karaoke challenge in quick drag. Um, I don't have a lot of thoughts on this. I don't know how Dulce won it. Sorry, spoiler. I didn't know
Yeah.
how any of them won it. But you know what? I will say this. Justice for Kennedy Davenport's incredible verse on Tongue Pop, which to this day might be up there with one of the top three things she's done on a legendary career on in the Drag Race universe.
She rises like hypertension, Greg. What can we
Yeah.
say? That's what she do. But man, I mean, just sure. Here's the thing. I'll give credit. Again, if the other thing I'll say about Canada, maybe even more than any other franchise, is that it is self-conscious and self-aware.
Yes.
As a show, because I feel like as soon as Paulo Profession left and they immediately knew, oh shit, we had something special on our hands, they hit the socials. Everyone hit the socials. You have Brooke lip syncing to it, like they were fully aware. And so to that end, I think earlier this year when I think I shared with you the TikTok of like, hey, when you think about it, Xana's kind of the Joella of writing verses for drag songs. Like they are aware of the perception of some of the verses on here. So what are some of the verses that the queens get to karaoke to? Terra Nova's verse from whatever song that was, Kennedy Davenport's Tongue Pop, Luna Dubois' line to Heartbeat, Amy Deschanel's line in Heartbeat, Xana's song from whatever the fuck that was. Like they just keep rolling out all these
Hmm.
incredible, terrible hits. I'm so glad to hear Xana's Xana, by the way, Staycation 2 contestant. If you haven't listened to our last episode with my interview with Silky and Alyssa Edwards, please do, because they talk about Slaycation and meeting Xana. That's one of the parts of the interview.
And
But look, it
listen,
was
if
just
you, I was just
wild.
gonna say, if you need a drag race fix, Slaycation over the holidays, while you're cleaning, is probably a great little thing to watch. Probably why they dropped it now. I did have a friend
Exactly.
message me that they missed getting Drag Race España on Sundays, and I'm like, I know, me too.
I know.
But anyway, Dulce wins $2,500, which great, courtesy of Shoe Freaks. I mean, I'm really happy for her. But then we find out what the main challenge is, Evan, and it is the Shade Talk Show. Now, I have to be really honest. It kept the name of the challenges kept sort of changing. Like it was the realness or it wasn't the realness, but then it was anyway. It's a talk show challenge. And they're in three groups of three. The three groups are Velma, PM, and Sammy, Van Goth, Ebony, and Maya Fox, and Saltina, Dulce, and Karamilk. Um, and they find out that one of the three segments of the show will feature this week's guest judge, Kiesza, who
Mhm.
Hideaway, a hipster anthem, which makes you feel old now because that's how long it's been since that song hit. But she's Canadian and she actually had a great dance album come out last year with some great stuff on it that sort of got lost. What did you think of the idea of this challenge, and what did you think of the groups, Evan?
So the thing is, we've had talk show challenges happen before, and I think largely, I can't. I'm sure there has been ones on Canadian Drag
Oh,
Race. I just don't explicitly recall off the top of my head. But like, yeah, in the U.S., we've had it in España. I think it's always a good vibe. We even had it in Brazil this year too. And it's just, the thing is like. When I think about drag race challenges, I frequently think about what was the original drag race designed. It was all designed to do things that RuPaul has done in her career. And it's the kind of thing where like this is a different type of hosting. You're gonna have to be a media professional. So like I think there's
yeah.
actually a big aspect to that I think is helpful. But it is a matter of like finding that balance between being humorous and being open and being honest. And the thing I always do whenever I do any interview of just like talking, you need to know when to stop so to let other people breathe. Like it's always a challenge. I think it's a good challenge. These groups, I must say, were very interesting choices because overall, like Maya, Van, and Ebony, I didn't see them necessarily pair together, but like, okay, cool. Like it's just a different vibe. And oh my God, so Sammy, Velma, and PM, that makes sense. I think PM and Velma see each other. I think Sammy's a wackadoo clown kind of character,
Yes.
so like that makes sense to me. But Gregory Ellwood of the playlist and sometimes the LA Times. Let me tell you, as soon as Saltina and Karamilk and Dulce sit down in their group, and they get to
I
cover their section is the realness, and then Maya, Ebony, and Van do tea time, and then it's Sammy, Velma, and PM doing the couchside Kiki. But when they're talking about the realness, the first thing Dulce is talking about, like, so you guys didn't want to pick me, huh? What about that? What about that? It's
I
just like,
I was
girl.
like, Dulce, you're not beating the allegations, girl. Like this is just why. I mean, it was a wild. I just, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're just like,
You
you're in a
choose
bad mood.
violence.
You choose violence, and she might have
Yeah.
done that. I do want to go back to your one point is I actually wish if there are any showrunners for any of the countries watching this, or even US Drag Race, I actually feel like this challenge needs to be like a fixture for the show
Hmm.
because it is basically also media training. It's also like doing
Yeah.
interviews and if you're not going to do an interview segment where the talent's being interviewed, because also I feel like they should do what we talk to queens all the time, and it's up to them to be good interview subjects so that they can sell a show, they can sell a project they're in, sell themselves. And I think what's important about this challenge is that if you are a actor, a musician, a drag queen, a public, you need to be able to speak in public and be able to interact with someone in a way that helps either your project or yourself. So I wish they would actually do that. I wish this was like a staple like Snatch Game or I think this is more important to me than a makeover challenge. Makeovers are
Hmm.
fun, but this is more about a real career than anything else. And yes, it is something that Rue did, but also it's anything that a real drag queen did. But anyway, the only good news out of all this is that they don't argue and bicker about what segments they're going to take. Vilma, PM, and Sami take the couch side Kiki. Van Goth, Ebony, and Maya do tea time, and Saltina, Dulce, and Karamilk do the realness, which was probably not their best choice. Um, so anyway, we also in this sort of segment of them talking about getting ready, we also find out for the first time, which I had not clocked, and again, Van, we are not coming for you. The producers did. Um, Van keeps saying "clock it" like it's a catchphrase,
Yes.
and I had not
I had
noticed
not
it.
clocked it personally
No.
myself. Yeah.
Now I
Thank
will
you as
never forget it.
always. Thank you as always, Canada editors, for being the shadiest editors out of any of the international seasons. Because it's just like, oh, PM's complaining about her saying clock it. Here's the montage. Cue it up.
Hmm.
And I do love it. I had not clocked it, and now I can never not.
So they go and they film these segments, and what's interesting is they shoot it in a way that makes it look like it's a rehearsal, and then you'll see the edit, but it's not really. They're doing the challenge, but only Tracy is physically there as the director telling them, "You've got 2 minutes, you've got whatever, wrap
Mhm.
it up." Um, and can I just jump into my quick thoughts on some of these really quick?
Please,
So the
please.
first group was the Shade, and it was again uh oh no. So the name of the talk show is The Shade, I guess.
Hmm.
It was slightly
Yes.
confusing. So the first group was Saltina, Dulce, and Caramilk, and they are talking about real subjects. They're supposed to be doing hot topics like from The View. And they talk about padding, they talk about club culture, and they talk about a little bit sobriety with that. They talk about drag families. And oh wait, did I get this wrong?
No.
No, wait, I got it right. And I guess my take out of all of it was, like many of the other girls watching from the side, is a little boring. Like it wasn't
Hmm.
really that interesting, and they didn't have a lot of energy. They weren't messy, they were clean, and I'm sure when they were doing it, that's why Dulce thought they were gonna win, is because
Hmm.
they seemed like they were talking cleanly to each other, they were going back and forth, but it was a bore. I'm sure like some of our
Hmm.
own podcast episodes have been and we don't really realize it. But anyway, what did you think of this group's little sort of tea time thing?
It's crazy because I don't think it was a special. Well, wait, the tea time or the
Oh, not
realness?
tea
I
time.
guess.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Whatever this was called. This was
So yeah, Saltina, Dulce, and Karamilk's the realness.
the
And the thing
realness.
is that it wasn't bad. I would go as far as to say it wasn't bad. Like of all the teams that happened on here, like it was acceptable. But it was
Yes.
the kind of thing where it just felt dry. That was the thing more than
Dry.
anything else. Like it was a little bit too pre-rehearsed, a little bit too jokey. Like it's the kind of thing where I felt like it wasn't three people talking. It was just three people with these pre-made scripts in their head that they're kind of rolling through. Like again, it like the edit did a lot of work to really push that. Like, ooh, wow, they're doing poorly right now. But like I didn't think it was like a garbage event. Like it was the kind of thing where like it just felt it just felt okay. Like it just didn't blow me away. But overall, like it was like I could kind of see it in any other situation. If one of the other teams bombed, I could see them being safe. But that, of
Yes.
course, as we know, is not what happened.
But also, this segment was not that different in theory and structure of the Tea
From the
Time
tea
Girl
time
segment.
one, right?
And our first three girls could have had it be fun and catty and like, more interesting, like the Tea Time Girls who had a blast. And by the way, they were just being like drag queen cliches like through and
Right.
through, but that's fine. It was still entertaining. That was the point.
Entertainingly so. Right. Exactly.
Although
Yeah,
Maya girl, this wig, this wig was wow. This
yeah.
wig was a mess.
Someone
Um,
else did clock that the Realness girls, Caramel, Saltina, and Dulce, were all dressed for completely different events,
yes.
and I think that is absolutely correct. Meanwhile, Maya, Van, and Ebony, they certainly had wig coordination. I will say that on that end there. We could talk about the quality of the wigs, but it definitely felt like they were at least part of the same segment. So credit them for at least coordinating that and at least giving the illusion of cohesion as they proceeded.
And I do want to bring out a point because now this is the maybe second or third challenge where Maya has really um, stood out in terms of comedy and being able to cleanly do comedy and naturally do it in a way that doesn't feel forced. She sort of drove this segment, like she sort of made it
Hmm.
work. But she didn't dominate it. She knows how to work with other actors or actresses and make it all sort of work. Listen, I don't know if Maya's going to win this season, but I feel like on a future Versus or a future All Stars, when she can play with her package a bit more, I think people should. I think she's like a long-term player that we need to pay attention to. She's more talented than any of us gave her credit for, and I'm actually more curious about what she's going to do after the show than this. But anyway, they have some fun stuff. There was one really great line where Maya says about how Jimbo has I think a new, I don't know what Jimbo, like some new TV show or comedy special, and it's like how to lose twice and win on the third try, which
Yes,
all
yes,
the other
yes.
queens thought was very funny. I'm not really sure what, oh my God, I'm not coming for you, Van Gogh. I'm not really sure what you brought to it, but I thought Ebony and Maya really stood out. I thought they were really good.
Absolutely.
What did
I
anything
would
else?
I would I would go as far as to say we'll talk about what the elimination that happens this week later, but after this episode, the remaining cast members, I could see all of them come back for Canadian All Stars or anything
Yeah.
else like that. Like after this point, like, oh, somehow Velma Jones is back. Oh, PM is back. Like I'm just like, oh
Mm.
my God, that's a real competition. Like I would be impressed if any of them came back at this point now. That's like where I'm at with the cast. So I think overall I agree. Yes, it doesn't have to be Van doesn't have to shine in every moment, and I thought Ebony and Maya are great. Again, Ebony really coming through after last week's win, just personality. I low key thought she was maybe going to win this week. I'm not even kidding. Like I thought she was like that good
I
in the segment. Yeah,
I we'll get to it. I think I know why she didn't win.
you got
But
it.
up next was the last group, and it was the Couchside Kiki with Sammy and PM and who's the last one? Why am I forgetting?
Velma.
Velma. Oh my God. And
Yeah.
they're interviewing Kiesza. My first thing that just popped is PM's nose is wild. Whatever she's doing on her makeup here is like makes it look like Pinocchio, and I don't think that's what she was trying to do. I think she was trying to make it look natural, and that did not work on television.
It might be what she's trying
Um,
to do, knowing her.
I did love that Sammy at one point joked, I think before Kiesza came out, Brad Goreski, where has he been? Which I
Yes.
love that they kept it in, because they still really haven't explained why he's not
Hmm.
there on the show. Um, and I thought this was really good. Kiesza later says this is one of the best interviews she's ever had. All right, girl. I mean, sure. I don't know if I
Mhm.
buy that. But it was fun and they had smart questions and they didn't trip over each other. And I will say, as someone who's been part of groups having to do group interviews, it is very hard to get timing right, even if you know someone for years and they have not, to not trip over each other. You'll see us, we will trip over each other when we do this podcast. It's hard not to
Hmm.
do it, and they did not do it. PM came this close to dominating it a little too much, but either they fixed the edit so that she didn't, or she just pulled back a little bit, which was smart.
Yeah.
But Sammy was a great host, and
Mhm.
Sammy showed me that she could be a great host doing 20 million things, and I was really impressed with that.
Absolutely. I was also very impressed with Velma too, because for all of the difficulty that she's had in trying to be, English second language, and trying to translate things, having pre-written questions, she still was engaged. She still was earnest. She didn't turn to camera as much as I would have liked, but for the most part, like she still had like that energy to it. It just felt like a good group. It felt like they had the right energy. I think maybe them not bitching about who picked who, going into the segment, I think may
Hmm.
have helped with that chemistry. Maybe I'm not a scientist. What can I say? But yeah, I thought that was very interesting. I'm not sure if this out the gate read as like this is the winning group to me, but it is the kind of thing where I still had fun with it. I still had enjoyment overall.
I did think it was the winning group.
Mm,
I didn't know who was going to be high. I thought they were all Beyonce. I thought they were all high actually.
hmm.
But I didn't. I was surprised Velma was safe, but I guess you ran out of numbers and Ebony was so good. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But
Yeah,
I thought they were the most enjoyable out of the whole thing, and um, they weren't leaning on their guest Kaisa to like save the skit,
drive
which
it
was good. Yeah,
exactly.
drive it. But anyway, they come back into the workroom, or it's the next day, I can't remember. And they're getting ready for the runways, and we find out from Dulce that she was in the military up to just a couple years
Hmm.
ago and
Yeah,
was doing drag while she was doing military, and she knows how to put a gun together blindfolded, and she was like an in-depth, in-deep member of the Canadian military. Uh,
she can
and
serve two ways.
Yes, she could serve two ways. And also, it's very clear. Oh no, when you have this moment in the workroom, you are going home. Like this was like big telegraph. And by the way, I never understand why the queens don't understand. Like, don't talk about it. Don't talk about anything that might send you home. Like, if
Hmm.
I'd had a rough week, I would not be in the workroom being like, I'm going to talk about the one thing I've saved to the end before they send me home. I'd be like, you embarrass me and send me home. Evan, any quick thoughts on that or the new Weirdo Clown Alliance that has formed?
I mean, there is the Weirdo Clown Alliance. There actually is a much more poignant part that happens, which is when
Yes.
talking about their runways, because this is a perp walk to remember is the name of the category. Fun category, very odd that to have them talk about it beforehand, but it was
Yeah.
important for Van Gogh to get screen time specifically to talk about being diagnosed with HIV positive, and then having to disclose it, and then talking about the legal ramifications in Canada, which means that if you do not disclose it prior to an interaction with someone, that could potentially be counted as assault and crime, and so didn't even think about that angle of it whatsoever, which was very interesting to me to even have that discussion over there. But a lot of queens gathered round, and were very supportive and kind about it. But as always, discussions of this nature are always welcome on the show, and so it was just a very nice moment to have. Yeah.
It was very nice. And then there was a funny moment where Sammy says Van is in danger because Dulce knows how to assemble a gun. Um,
Yes.
and I did think that PM's bringing up the fact that she was going to do um, a tribute to the bathhouse raids that happened in Toronto in the 1980s at the height of the HIV scare in Canada or around the world was very poignant and very smart.
Hmm.
I think sometimes in the US we always think like, oh, everyone gay, they all had great easy things in Canada. It was always, they came out easily. They didn't have the
Hmm.
stuff we did. And that's not true at all. So I did like that they did that. But anyway, it's time for the runway. And we have Brooke doing a super fun black and white look, very referencing Detox. And also Valentina did something similar, but in bluish with white
Yeah.
on Mexico. Um, and I thought she looked great. I any thoughts on Brooke's look
Oh,
this week?
just absolutely incredible. I thought between her and Tracy, I thought they just knocked it out of the park. And also, credit be Kiesza. She showed up
She
with a
did.
look. She looks like baby Rexa, but she did show up at the very least to look solidly over there. And Carson's in a suit. But most
Baby's skinnier, little slightly older sister. Yes, that's what she looked like. But also
and
there
definitely
was
more talented.
you might not have caught it. I will say they are getting a little wild with the like canned like question back and forth
Hmm.
bits on Canada here. They're not working as well as in years past because they're just so obvious.
Well,
But
also, the chemistry between Greg and Brooklyn was like unprecedented. They were
yes,
like flirty, combative. Like they
you
had
mean
such a
Brad, Brad
genuine
and
Brad.
Brad and Brooke.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah. They had like a real thing going on. So unfortunately, Carson doesn't fit that
not
exact brief.
yet.
It's so much more
Yes.
canned. But exactly, loosen up a little bit. You're up north. It's fine.
Well, I was just, I mean, but there was a funny thing where Kaisa does I don't know what her question was. She answered the ooh, ah, and if you know
Yes,
Hideaway,
I
it's
thought
from the song.
exactly
It's
from
the
exactly. I
ooh,
got that too. I'm
ah,
like, that's so
and I was
stupid, but
like,
I
this
loved
is
it.
a deep cut, guys. This is
I
a
loved
deep
it.
cut. People aren't
Oh,
gonna
I
get
love
this.
Greg. I love being gay. It's one of my favorite things in the
I
world.
know,
It's
but
just
anyway, a
fantastic.
perp walk to remember. Evan, who is up first, and what did you think of their look?
So Susie Toot, I'm sorry, let me get this straight. I'm sorry, that is Saltina Shaker comes up here in an Iron Maiden look, and unfortunately, I don't know when the timings of the airings and the filmings transpired on here, but unfortunately, yes, Susie Toot did an Iron Maiden look on her season as well,
Yeah.
and Susie's was fantastic, and this was merely okay. Like the actual Iron Maiden prop is a little bit loosey, and like now she just has this flesh tone bodysuit with bedazzled puncture marks in her. Like it didn't have the impact that I think it was going for. It felt cheap in a way that kind of belies so far the overall expensive package we've seen from Saltina, in my opinion. What did you think?
I actually didn't think it looked cheap. I guess I was fixated while watching it about the whole idea is that the Iron Maiden didn't really exist in medieval times and has been totally made up in the century since. But I guess I actually thought it was good. I thought it was actually I thought it was good. The only thing that I didn't like was that you could see her corset, and I didn't understand why that needed to be part of the look or
Yeah.
why it seemed like a mistake. You could also see her panty, and I was like, why is this popping? Like she should have worn like double tights to I don't know, it was weird. But I thought it was weird. Later on, Brooke criticizes her hair. I actually thought her hair was like one of the
One of
more
the better
interesting
parts
hairs
of it.
she'd done. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was fine. Up next was something I wasn't thrilled about. And not to throw her under the bus, but Dulce comes out, and you can barely see it, but she is doing the look is cute. She's doing
Yes, it
a like
is, unquestionably.
I'm gone to the mall and I've stolen some makeup and oop, there's a little ink blot on the back of my dress. Sure, this is a modified drag closet look, which is totally fine. It's not
Hmm.
all queens have money, like have the resources to spend like potentially Saltina or whoever. Um, but it was a little like really, like it felt like she was stretching the runway theme, which by the way, a lot of them have been doing this season. The runways have not been
Hmm.
great. I mean, I think we have to sort of be honest about the
Yeah.
season's been really good, but the runways have been eh. What did you think of Dulce's little like I'm going to the mall look?
As always, it's the thing where if you look at a photo of it, could you tell that the phrase on this or that the category was a perp walk to remember? No, no, I
No.
cannot in any
Mm.
way, shape, or form whatsoever. So I'm just like, I'm done. I'm bored. I'm over. So yeah. Anyway, it was a lovely look that would have been great in literally any other category, just not this one.
Speaking of a blue dye exploding look, right up next, almost on
Right.
purpose to sort of give a
Almost on
comparison,
purpose.
is Karamilk, and her look is more, it was clearly designed for this. This was not a dry closet look. I 100% think it was designed for this. She's almost like trying to make it like a sexy supervillain look with the blue dye on her. But girl, who and the five people associating or helping you do your package said, let's pick gray material to do this on. What? Like the second it came out, I was like, wait, why is it gray? Like, I don't.
And when it came to the actual critiques from the judges, I thought it was actually a very good point from Brooklyn to talk about like if you're talking about an exploding blue dye pack as part of your runway look on here, give it a contrasting color so it actually pops a
Yes.
little bit more. And I fully agree on there. I still thought by itself it was a very cute look, absolutely.
Yes.
But for the effect of what it's trying to do, exploding bag of blue dye or whatever, yes, it could have been a little bit more diversified. It could have popped a little bit more. Overall, good, and unfortunately
Yeah.
puts whatever Dulce did to absolute shame. But yeah, it was still overall like a solid look. Just there was room for improvement.
Agreed. Up next, it was Ebony, and she did a love letter to Marsha P. Johnson, almost wearing similar to the iconic photo, or her version of that, which was
Hmm.
basically a bodysuit with the look of the photo up above. Um, so I love the sentiment. I think it was a little bit of a stretch for the perp walk. I don't think it was drag closet, but I think she may have overthought this runway a little bit and wanted to do something different. And I thought Brooklyn was actually very kind to her in criticizing it later on. What did
Hmm.
you think?
Full agree. Just because something acknowledges history doesn't mean that you can scrape by on just pure history acknowledgement. Like, it's the kind of thing where, like, yes, Marsha P. Johnson is an important figure and should be celebrated at every possible chance, but it's the kind of thing where that doesn't mean the drag outfit you do it has to be this boring and ill-fitting. Like, it's the kind of thing where, like, truly, like, the fit was terrible. The fit was terrible, and it's the kind of thing where I hate to be that asshole, but, like, there's not that much drag to it. Like, again, it's the kind of thing where in the hands of another queen, I think there could have been a genuine impact statement that was made here. Instead, this felt like coasting on history. And it's the kind of thing, yes, Brayer's wearing it, absolutely, but even the fucking brick prop just felt stupid. Like this
Yeah,
little fucking, like, just like, oh, it's like, it
I'm
almost looked
gonna.
like a Lego block, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Just it just felt a swing and a miss is how I would call it. A lovely sentiment, but not good in execution in any way, shape, or form.
agreed. Well, yeah. I mean, it was almost forgettable enough that it
Yeah.
didn't hurt her that much. Up next was Van Goth with. I loved parts of this look. She was basically doing chains of HIV, and
Hmm.
she wanted to do a perp walk about the fucked up laws. That was her word. That's her phrasing from the voiceover. And I just want to stop for a second and say this is not an attack on you, Van Gogh. I'm not attacking you. But you are saying that laws that are meant to protect people from potentially exposing themselves to HIV to other people are fucked up laws. I'm gonna be honest, you've lost me on this. Now, if the editors took what you said and twisted it and we are misinterpreting it, that is totally fine. I totally get it. But no one should be having sex with no one should have consensual sex with someone else and that person know that they have something that could give them a long-term debilitating disease, especially if not treated. Because if you don't know, then you wouldn't know to get what. There's so many scenarios here. I think it's a little off, but not attacking, just saying I'm hoping that's not what you really meant. Did you get
Yeah.
any of that as well, or did I just catch all this?
Well, first off, if anything I know about Van Gogh, they're going to correct us in the comments over here. And for the record, Van Gogh, you are welcome to always say your piece over here.
Yeah.
We will always read it and always acknowledge it. We appreciate you listening. Our opinions, as always, are 100% honest and candid. The thing for me is the fact that, I was curious about the context of the laws too, because it's the thing where you just have to kind of be upfront about it. And I'm the thing, more importantly, more than anything else like that, again, there's a lot of backstory going into this look. We took time out of the workroom segment to even talk about, like, as they're prepping for this on here. When you look at this look, do you get perp walk to remember? Because I don't. And I think
No, but I didn't
that's
get
the
that
thing.
from most of them. So like,
Right, like at the very least with like Ebony, I can maybe get that there. Like again, it's such a, like I could absolutely get that out of I could absolutely get that out of Karamilks. Like is it like some of these pop way
yeah.
more than others in that sense too. So this one here felt like a way to kind of shoehorn in a message statement here, and it just I don't know. It just the chains were lovely, the outfit was fine, and again, it's the kind of thing where if it's about HIV awareness, it needs to be about that. If it's you trying to make this about the laws on here, I did not get that in the presentation. And I think that's probably the largest thing. Yes, I'm so glad that the segment helped raise awareness to it and that we know about
Yeah.
what the laws are. Talking about the justice or justice of it is a different conversation over here, but for the sake of the runway, it was, I love the detail on the chains. It was a pretty good look. I still didn't get the category out of it personally.
And also, I did really I thought this was one of the looks where her white makeup worked well with the look.
Absolutely.
It looked
Yeah, well,
very
because
good.
then she's exchanging with the white hair, and it's the
Yeah.
perfect match to the feather blouse on here. Like
Yeah.
a lot of that worked together. So yeah, overall pretty good. Just not exactly the prompt, just in the realm. It's
I
circling,
I
you know.
just
Yeah,
didn't understand the context she was trying to say it in.
yeah.
Up next was speaking of context. Up next was Maya Fox, and I they did reference this as a specific historical
Uh-huh.
person from Canadian history. It went so fast I did not catch it. But the rest of the queens just started referring to her as Man of Green Gables. And I got it. Like I looked at it and I saw the hands. Like it is a perp walk. Like she's doing like a 17th century woman like in a perp walk. Like I get it.
hmm
So in theory, she did the prompt, but also was costume. So costume. What did you think?
Here's my question to you. Did I get perp walk out of this? Yes. Is this drag? That's the thing about
It's
it
a
too.
Halloween
This like
costume.
it
Yeah.
really felt like that because like I didn't get the sense out of it. Like I just didn't get a little bit of sparkle. I didn't get a little bit of count. Like it's the thing where if you want to be comedy and whatnot, that's one thing. But we've seen so many other queens find that line between stupid and still being presentable and still giving us a little bit more of that glitz. And this just felt eh. Like I kept thinking I'm like, okay, what's she gonna reveal to? Oh, there's no reveal. This is literally just it.
Mm.
Okay. So
I
again,
did too. I kept thinking, oh wait, she looks like she's gonna like throw something off. Nope, it was just this hoop
exactly.
skirt.
Just the stupid hoop skirt. So it's the kind of thing where it's like, again, as this kept going on, I'm like, God, did they really biff this runway? I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good prompt. I thought there's a lot of fun things you could do with such a category, but apparently I was wrong, Greg. Apparently I was
I
deeply wrong.
I feel like maybe an All Stars cast, having already gone through the process of the show, would have figured out how to. And by the way, an All Stars cast in any country, not necessarily
Yeah,
just Canada or U.S., but France or Spain, they would have done a good job.
yeah.
Um, Up next was PM, and she is again referencing the Toronto baths. I really liked the look. I thought it was gross as fuck. Like
Oh,
it was so
100%.
gross. And it did
8,000%.
make me want to not look at it. And it, especially when she poured and drank. I just also felt like she didn't need that part. Like,
hmm
I know you want to go for the win and go crazy, but it made me just like cringe. And it's just me. But I thought it was an amazing look beyond before that. I thought it was probably the best thing that PM as a runway look had done before the jock
The jock
drinking
sock water.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that jock sock water, baby, let me tell you. All I can
Literally
say
just
is that
shuddered.
I know, and like it was disgusting, but also that's PM's aesthetic. Like the thing is that like I can't think of like number one, did it hit the prompt? Could you get perp walk out of this? Absolutely, I could. Number two, it was messy and it was kind of strange and beautiful. Even the shoes were like so beautifully trashed and tarnished and messy, and it's the kind of thing where like they just went for it. And the thing is that like even if it was not necessarily palpable, it is a thing where like they highlighted the message, they hit the category, they checked every box for me on this one here. And did they gross us out a little bit? Yes, but like they're at least doing something. They're at least provoking a reaction out of it, which is more than I can say than half of these where it's like it's a costume. This is boring.
Yeah.
Like I give credit to them. So credit to them. Every time I count PM out, they bring me back in, and it's just a delight to see. So I was very happy.
Um, Next was Velma Jones, and she is playing a rich woman, sort of like, um, in a way, she sort of looks like the character from 101 Dalmatians that Glenn Close
Yeah.
plays a little bit.
Yes.
But she's
Cruella
tried.
Deville.
Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
She's tried to, instead of stealing those little puppies, she's tried to steal the maple syrup. And
Uh-huh.
somehow it's all gotten dumped on her. Maybe there's a Canadian reference that we're missing here. I mean, I
Yeah.
get the idea of stealing maple syrup. Maybe there's an in joke that like people have, that's part of Canadian lore that we're missing. I thought it was well done. I thought it was
Mhm.
dragged. I thought she was overthinking the prompt a little bit. What did you think?
I thought very similar. I thought this is more like some like a rich woman being protested on or whatnot, and so
Yeah.
then people are throwing the syrup on her. It was fun. It was the thing. It was a fun look. Did I get purple walk out of it? Mostly. I think mostly on this. Even but like I love the dangling bits of syrup. I love the scowl that she had on the whole time. Like she got in character. Like it was a fun look overall. Am I gonna remember this when we record our episode next week? Probably not.
No.
But at the same time, she did more than half the other girls on this cast, so I'm not too bad.
You know what? This next runway is thinking we might need to add a category, Evan. We might need to add a best wait, what? Category. Sami Landry is coming out as a woman, a person representing the overfilling like lip filler and filler all across your body, BBLs, whatever, of the gays. How on earth this is perp walk? I do not understand. And here's what I'm going to say, Sammy. I don't think you're listening, but I'm super confused. I've seen you do tons of interviews. You are super fucking smart. You are so smart as a person. How could you go onto the show and purposely get three, we're at number three, I think, at this point,
Uh-huh.
runway prompts completely wrong? Like, I don't, were you a last minute, like, maybe she was a last minute, like, replacement, and maybe that's what's going on. I did love this look. I thought it was super fun. We've sort of seen a little bit, Jimbo, this is when you realize how iconic Jimbo has been, is that so many queens are referencing Jimbo now that, like, it becomes a, like, oh, wait, where did this start? It was Jimbo. Jimbo is now
hmm
iconic. Um,
hmm
what did you think of this look, Evan?
I was just stunned. I couldn't know. Like, is it's kind of terrible. It's kind of trashy. It's also iconic. Like the thing is that like if she wore the dress just by itself with all this lumpy padding and boobs and
Yeah.
everything misshapen or whatnot, that'd be one thing. But the fucking lips that she then brought to with her to confessional to like make another point about, like just ridiculous. I don't know. It's the kind of thing where like. I enjoyed it. It did not get perp walk at all, but it's one of those looks where sometimes it just needs to be so stupid and ridiculous. Like, oh, we do a 2-in-1 runway, and Alaska's gonna tear away some trash bags into. Oh, she's a little pound cake. Like, is that a 2-in-1? Not really.
No.
Does it? Is it still the impact still there? Absolutely. That kind of felt similar with
Yes.
this, where it's just like, whatever. It's so ridiculous and outrageous. We're just gonna roll with it here. So, do I think she should have won for that? That's a different question, but we'll talk about
That's a
that in a
different
second.
question.
Yeah.
But we find out sooner rather than later that the three safe queens this week, because we're, dwindling in our queens, is Van Goth, Maya Fox, and Velma Jones.
From
They're all
different
safe
groups, it should be noted.
from different
Exactly.
groups,
Yeah.
yes, one from each group. Um, and they start doing the critiques. I don't want to go through personally all the individual critiques. I thought there were two things that popped to me. I did notice Dulce was not happy with the challenge critiques at all. Like you could see the look on her face. And I thought the judges were being super fair and super kind.
Mm-hmm.
And she
Mm-hmm.
was not. I don't want to say she wasn't happy having it, but you could tell she really wanted to like she was controlling herself from not, you know, debating them back about what their takes were. Did you notice that as well? What was or
Well,
anything else?
remember, you're reminding me that before they actually hit the runway, when they're doing the prep work the following day, she talked about like, I thought we did really good this week. I thought we did
She
really
thought she was
solid.
gonna
Like,
win.
she absolutely did, and it's the kind of thing where just to have that shattered, to have that face shattered, of just like, girl, I don't know. Like, it's just it was just such a wild thing to experience. But truly, again, she had been on this delusional tip for a while, and this episode was just
Yeah.
like it all came. This is like Viola in Drag Race UK. This is like a whole
hmm
other just crash out of just like, oh, you truly have no perception as to what's going on in this competition. It is genuinely fascinating thing to watch, and I'm sorry to say, makes great TV. It really does.
Makes great TV.
Yeah.
I would say that the only other thing that popped to me, and we sort of mentioned earlier, is Brooke kindly and decidedly explained in the classiest way possible to Ebony about her concerns over the look and that she loved the sentiment, but that there were fitting issues and that maybe it was
Mhm.
just a bodysuit. And I thought that I loved one of the things I do love about Brooke on Canada is she will almost 90% be honest. Like there's not a lot of producer shenanigans in at least her critiques. And I thought that this was an example of that. She was even disagreeing, actually, I think, with Carson about it. She does tend to, as we've noticed over the years, she will default to the pageant, like I'm going to be honest about this and really tell you what I think, takes more often than not, and I love that. Any other takes on that or any of the judges' critiques?
No, the other thing I'll say is that I thought they were actually very fair and even to Saltina too. I thought she needed to hear that after so many weeks in the top or high. She needed to have that little bit of reality check, and I thought it was handled, pretty well. Yeah.
So anyway, we then find out. Sorry, I didn't mean to say so anyway. Someone keeps freaking messaging me on my freaking phone while we're doing this podcast, and it's like, dude,
How dare?
stop! I'm
How
recording a
dare?
podcast.
Damn it.
Um, damn
Exactly.
it. But anyway, we do have our winners and our highs of the week. PM is high. Ebony is high, and our winner is Sami Landry. And Sami Landry gets 5,000 Canadian dollars. Super happy for Sami. And we have a bottom three of Saltina, Dulce, and Karamilk. Those are the bottom queens. And they go back to the workroom, Evan, and oh me, oh my.
So, but
So,
before we do that,
sure.
I personally, and this is again, do I have my biases? Yes, I do. But I thought PM was going to win this week. Because I thought of the queens, I thought they did pick out the right tops of the group on here. Ebony, I could see why she wouldn't be there if they're going to criticize the fit, because I think that was actually valid. And remember, this is in a US season, so the critiques of the runways do actually matter for these final estimations. With the microwave Jimbo look that we were getting from Sami, I was a little bit surprised by. I thought that PM had like the pretty good overall in the challenge, but had the best runway out of the three by far. So I thought that was going to be enough to push her over the top. So I was a little bit surprised they went with Sami personally, but that's just me. What were your thoughts on why Sami won over the other two this week?
I think I actually could have seen Ebony winning more if her look was better. I think the thing with PM was if you rewatch that challenge, it does seem like PM is on the verge of like taking over the
Hmm.
the interview and barely got out of it. And also she might have, and they just edited like her asking three or four other
Hmm.
questions out. We don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm not saying that's what happened. PM, if you're listening, I'm not saying you did that. But I also think
Van
as
Gogh, pass
much
that on
as
to
I
PM for us.
pass it, Van Gogh, pass that on PM. I also thought though that as much as PM's look was great as an image, sorry, as an image, you will remember Sammy Landry's look
Yes, you will.
way more ever than you ever will with the other one, even if it was more daring in a way. So, and I also thought Sammy kept that group together. Excuse me.
Hmm.
And so I I didn't get vibes that PM was going to win, but I see it. I think it was a close. This was maybe one of the closest top threes to decide who's going to win the season for this. So I buy that. Um,
Yeah.
but
Anyways, yes.
anyways,
You
so
go
we
back to
go
the
back into
workroom.
the workroom, Evan, please tell us what drama unfolded.
Immediately out the gate, Dulce is stunned, is surprised, is shocked even. She really thought she was going to be on the top, and she just kind of has this world crashing around her moment, just like, am I really feeling that bad? I just really thought I was delivering what I needed to? And it's just very confused, just has no self-awareness to it. And some of the other queens certainly have other things to say about it as well. If you wanted to go into some of those feelings, yeah.
I mean, she did say she feels like the dumbest bitch ever. She was really
Mhm.
being hard on herself. But at least she came into the workroom and realized, okay, this is what it is. I misread it. She at least could acknowledge that she misread what had happened that day or the day before.
Mhm.
I thought the other interesting thing, this Saltina actually, and this might, by the way, be one of the reasons why she did that Instagram post yesterday, is she's like, I refuse to fade the background. Like she will not accept that she's going to be in the bottom. Like she just, and it was a little not entitled, but like almost there. Like almost like I shouldn't even be part of this. I was so good. My runway, like I get it. Um, the other things that sort of popped were Sammy has a lot of qualifications for the Beaver. She wants them all to prove why they should be there. She has a whole, I mean, they almost need like to fill out a survey form, I think, for Sammy.
Mhm.
And Van sort of comes for Sammy saying that her drag is still shit. And I'm like, what? Like Sammy has,
It's just
what are you saying?
she
Um,
just won.
but we do come up with the drama that even though
Hmm.
Saltina and Sammy are friends, uh, Saltina says she's staying no matter what, but she didn't save Sammy when she could have earlier in the season, when she had the beaver. So there's a little bit of drama or potential drama.
Hmm.
Any other thoughts from the workroom before the queens get back and we once again realize that Maya Fox was on this episode? Um,
The thing I'll say is that is again, my husband brought up this amazing point to it too. Man, this cast does not like each other, like genuinely, truly, but not like in a way
They're
that's
all
like.
friends. What are you talking about? They're all supposed to be best friends.
Yeah, it's all page three and boneses all the way straight through.
Yeah,
No, it's the kind of thing where it's like they're just from such different places and such different areas that it's just like there's it's not like hatred for each other. And I don't
yeah,
think it's that because that would have been bad TV. That would have been an unpleasant viewing experience. But like there's no real love. Like they talk about having these alliances and these moments on here, but like they would all be willing to cut a bitch after like the whole by episode three when all the alliance bullshit went out the window. They're like they are happy to tear each other down. And who knows? Maybe after what the queen who leaves this week leaves, maybe that's like that'll change things, the dynamics a little bit. But like it really is every girl out for themselves, or at least that's the sense that we were kind of getting from it. I'm not sure what you thought.
it is. But also, I didn't. When Van Gogh had the moment talking about her HIV in the workroom, and
Mhm.
many of the queens came over to hug her. I didn't feel it was performative. I felt
Right,
like they
I would agree.
genuinely they have compassion for each other. They may, but did we talk about this for last season on US 17 or no, we were even talking about on UK. Like I that's an example where I don't think in this past season on the UK the Queens had that much in common as
Hmm.
people. And this just might be an example where it's a little bit of that too, where like they're too spread out. They haven't worked that often with each other except for the Toronto girls. And you do have this is the first time we've had about three Quebec area queens on a season in a while. And all seem to know each other and be friends, but like maybe they're not really friends with the Toronto girls. Like
Hmm.
I get it, but no, I think what you're saying is valid. I'm curious to see what happens as it moves forward. But the queens go back onto the stage, and surprise, 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 Sammy decides to use the Golden Beaver to do what, Evan? What does Sammy do?
She decides to save the one queen who has yet to receive the golden beaver so far, which is, of course, Saltina Shaker. Saltina's given away a beaver, but it's the first time she's receiving one, so it makes sense, but it does plunge Dulce and Karamilk once again into the bottom two. So, baby, baby, we're
And
here,
it's
we're doing it.
time. It is. It's a lip sync to Dancing and Crying by Kiesza. I don't know this Kiesza track. It's not off her new
Same.
album. I think it's from one of the deep cuts from her first album from over a decade ago. But it was a pretty good track. Like I thought it was fun. This
Yeah.
was a pretty good lip sync. I didn't think it was amazing, amazing.
Correct.
But because I sort of thought Karamilk had it the entire time. I thought Dulce did a lot of stuff that was, I mean, she did some splits. She did a tumble that almost took me out. Like I was like, what is this Queen Kong? What is this like?
Yes.
What is
Uh-huh.
this? She's gonna like throw herself off the stage. But Dulce didn't quit. But I didn't think she emoted the song as much as Caramel did.
I would
And
agree.
I thought Caramel really like I mean, it's not a deep song. It's about dancing and clubbing and like whatever. But she still gave more of like what a pop star would give to that performance. That was my sort of take. What did you think about lip sync?
You have a full agree. I'll be honest, it's the kind of thing. It was closer than I thought it was going to be. Like I don't think
Mm,
this was a blowout by any means whatsoever, but it wasn't as close as the Hazel and PM lip sync from last week either. It was a thing where it's like Kara Milk just had the performative abilities on there, and again, it's the thing where Dulce as a performer doesn't always, and then we talked about this before with like Hazel last week, doesn't always have the same like emotive aspects to her
yeah.
face that other queens do. So she really has to sell it through her body and other things there, and it just didn't have the same confidence that you can see with Caramel because Caramel's hitting poses, she's doing moments, she's doing some of the drag queen classic stylings that you expect
Hmm.
from these things, and unfortunately with her, it does it just didn't hit. She put in the effort, she really did try, but for a queen who thought she was going to win this week, I think she also when it was announced who the winner of the lip sync was, I thought she thought she was going to win the lip sync too, because she did not win the lip sync. Greg, I hate to break it to you, I don't know how to break this to you.
She
Yeah.
she was very upset, and Brooklyn did not get out behind the dais and go up on stage and console her. But she also didn't fall to the ground, like started. But Dulce was very upset, and I hope she's doing. I mean, this was 9 months ago, 10 months ago. This
Right.
was a long time ago, so I'm sure she's doing much better now, or I hope she is. But she was very upset, and she turns around, and I will say she gave one of the better exit lines that I've heard in a while. She turns around and she pulls back her tears and says, "Well, I knew I should have gone for Drag Race Mexico." And, okay, so maybe we have our first contestant for Latino Royale coming from Canada as they shoot that in the new year.
Dulce,
Um,
you wouldn't have won that either. I'm so sorry.
no, well, no, they haven't shot it yet. She still has a chance to get there. I will say though, she then gets back into the workroom and she's still annoyed. She still like doesn't think she should have gone home. And I do think all queens need to be delusional to do what they do,
Mhm.
but there is also some self-reflection. Like she made it super far. I thought she should have gone home 2 episodes ago. I've been talking about it for 2 episodes. So I feel like she got a great run. The producers did not do her dirty. She said everything she said. She performed the way she did. Like nobody threw her under the bus. And by the way, this from that first episode, remember they set it up, and also Dulce set it up, and Van Gogh did that they were not friends, and they could have like somehow that
Had
storyline
a
could have
longer
dominated this
narrative.
for
Exactly.
and it nope, it did its piece and went away. So
Hmm.
Dulce, I wish you well and look forward to seeing you on Latina Royale. Evan, any other
Exactly.
thoughts?
Not really. I'm personally not too heartbroken over it. But hey, guess what? We do find out something about next week.
Yes.
Miss Brooklyn Heights says, Queens, don't get too comfy. Don't get too
Mm-mm.
comfy. Because next week it is the slay-offs. It is the lip sync slay-offs, and no franchise does the slay-offs better than this one. They always have innovative ways of doing it. It turns into a challenge where you can actually win. But what I think is going to happen is that we have 8 queens now, and there's going to be 4 lip syncs, and there's going to be winners and losers in each, and then the top two from there do a lip sync, and then the top two do a lip sync. We have a challenge winner, and the bottom 4 queens, they're going to be there. The winner will get the golden beaver. They'll save one of those queens, and then it'll be a three-way lip sync at the very end, meaning that, as Brooke notes, 2 queens will be going home next week, which is scary, which is exciting, which is terrifying, which is a delight. Who know? I don't know. I'm very curious to see what happens. I'm worried about some of my favorites, but we will see. We will see, Greg.
We'll see. I love Two Queens going home one episode. I
Hmm.
do sort of like it more when it's a both a double sachet away as just the two of them doing a bet. I think that's more interesting. I feel we don't get that we haven't gotten enough of those. But we'll find out, and the Queens are sort of shook about it. I don't think they thought this was going to happen. Um, although they could have just counted the number of episodes that they contractually had left and how many
They could
queens were left, but whatever. Who
have.
cares? But I'm excited about it. It'll be fun, and it will be, by the way, this episode will drop, everyone. It's your little Christmas Day present because it's coming on Thursday.
Yeah,
So enjoy.
absolutely.
Evan, I hope you have a wonderful holiday with your family and your
Hmm.
kitty, one or two?
Kitties,
One.
too. We have
Ki-
two.
Two with your kitties, and to everyone listening, we're excited to give you two episodes next week, one with our best of, and if you don't happen to listen to us, best wishes for everyone in the new year. And Evan, anything else you'd like to add?
All I can say is that Greg and I, listen, we watched every single international season of Drag Race that happened in 2025. But the thing we want to know is that as much as we have our opinions, we want to know specifically from you, the fans, what would you count as the best runway of the international season? What would you count as the best mug? The best lip sync? There's a lot of options over there. The
Yes.
best host, the best redemption, the best comic performance, and also the biggest breakthrough. Who is a queen that they didn't win, but my God, did they leave an impression on you? What was that? And what was the other one we had? Best crown queen, I think was one of the other ones we wanted to have. Of the people who did win, who's wearing that crown the best? I already know my answer for this, but either way, I'm very excited for it either way. Greg and I will compare notes on here, but we would love to know your thoughts on here. So if you have any thoughts, drop them in the comments over there. And even if you don't leave any comments, most importantly, it's been a wild and insane year for all of us. So all I can say is that thank you for listening, continuing to listen, leaving those ratings and reviews for us. We do see them. We do appreciate them so deeply and profoundly. And most importantly, happy holidays to everyone. We'll catch you on the next Holislay spectacular of an
Yeah.
episode we have next week. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.